What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 3 of the Relab Life vlog. Hopefully, you've been enjoying it so far. Today is going to be normal as well. It's like nothing particularly special in terms of an activity type of point of view, but most of the things that I'll be doing today is proposal writing and quoting. Just trying to win more businesses into Relab. I think that the team has a few deadlines to work on, so it's going to be another normal working day. But one of the things that I promised you last time in the previous vlog was to showcase a little bit of the work that we do. I think I'm going to pick an example of a presentation that I've done previously, because in there you get a little bit of a background of Relab, but as well as mainly the type of works that we do and a bit of visual in it as well. So hopefully that's interesting, and hopefully that brings you value and gives you a little bit more insight about Relab's process and its outcome as well. So we'll try and do a screencast of it, and hopefully that works fine in the video. On top of that, I think we'll try and see what happens today. As we're recording this, it's probably around, what is it? Oh shit, it's actually 11:54, so it's close to lunchtime already. Time just flies by. But most of the stuff are going to be internal type of activity, which is project discussions, just project meetings, touching base on progress of our different tasks and projects. A couple of good news is that we've won a new contract with the customer. That will be a monthly type of arrangement, which means it's an ongoing basis. So for small studios or small agencies like us, that really means something. So that's really good. Hopefully we'll be able to provide more information around that. But anyway, we'll leave it there for now, but I'll touch base later. Guys, keeping to my promise, just gonna show you some work. Okay. Alright, gang. First of all, apologies for not being able to do this any earlier in the previous episodes. But here we are, and hopefully this will bring some good value to you, and again, more insight on what we do in Relab. This is a typical introduction type of document that we do, whether it's a presentation or whether it's just a PDF of an email as part of an email that gets sent to a potential customer, or sometimes it's just part of an estimate or a project estimate that we sent through. We love to introduce ourselves to new connections. It doesn't have to be a potential client or customer. Could just really be a new business relationship with an affiliate or some of the guys that we work closely with. So without further ado, I'm just going to go through some of these slides with you, and hopefully you'll get an idea of what we are. So this is a typical introduction cover that we use. Usually we would have the client's name or whoever we're presenting to over there. By default, usually it's my name here because I do most of the presentation. By I mean Alvin, in case you don't know by now. Anyway, the next screen would be Um, just a quick blurb about who we are. So at Relab, we aspire to be the most customer-centric digital agency, in particular on the creative side of things. So that's creative slash design. But we aspire to be exactly that through data-led collection. Sorry, not collections, data-led solutions. And really, the goal is to produce the best user experience out there, whether it's digital, online, or offline. Although these days we lean towards digital just because that's where most of the attention is. So that's what we're focused on in the next few years in the short term. In the long term, who knows what's going to happen, but we try to analyze that throughout our journey and try to be as relevant as possible to the market. In here as well, we just dropped a few icons that represent a process of our work. Now, these type of processes, it's very common in an agency or a service-based environment, particularly in design or digital agency or creative agency. We go through very, very similar type of process, I would say. I'd say 80 to 90% people go through a very similar type of process from analyze or research. We've just renamed them to formulate, but it's really researching, planning, building it or working on it, which we call, in our terms, we call it constructing it. Launching it, launching the product, launching the website, launching the new brand or whatever it is, and nurturing it, which essentially goes back to step number one again, eventually. But it's quite a common process. So I'm not going to go through in a lot of details around that, just because I think with this kind of stuff, people advocate pretty much almost the same thing. It's just a different version of it. Okay. The next slide will be about our core services. So the things that we do mainly, but I guess the thing that I'd like to highlight here is we combine creativity, customer service, and technology. And this is one of the most important point for us, which is we guide our customers. Actually, the more I think of it, it's more collaborate rather than guide. It's kind of like a process that we go through together, a journey that we go through together with the customers through the rapid integration of branding, web, mobile, email, content, social media, what have you. I think it's all integrated at the end. And as an agency, we want to try and be relevant to those different type of mediums. There's only so much that we could do as a small agency at the moment, but the long term is to be able to integrate seamlessly, obviously backed with the right resources and people in the agency as well. But as we stand, as I'm doing this presentation to you, the things that we do are really project management, creative strategy, which is essentially the design strategy side of things, UI and UX, technical development, which is programming and development in general, email marketing, motion animation, search data and analytics, content strategy, and social media. And then I'd like to go through a list of some brands that we've worked with, predominantly just to give the potential customer an idea of, the type of industries that we've been working with, and then that gives them a sense of experience as well, and experience that is more specific and whether it's relevant to them or not. I like to revise or change this or alter this depending on who we're presenting to or who we're presenting this to. That way it's more relevant again, just focusing on the people that we're trying to talk to, okay? But to give you a brief idea, we've worked with government agencies, we've worked with retail, the retail industry as well, and education, hospitality, just general corporate or product-based companies. and a couple of real estate property developers as well. I like to go through testimonials or pick a few testimonials that customers has given to us throughout the operation of the company, just because I feel like that's one of the things that speaks about Relab in particular in a more specific manner. To give you an idea, this is from one of our customers, IDP Education. The thing that I like to highlight here is really that we try to maintain consistent communication, and we love to be as proactive as we can in addressing any issues, knowing issues as soon as possible. And so, that just translates to us being very, very agile in a sense where we can be flexible and versatile to addressing challenges or issues. That way we can mitigate that as soon as possible. Another example of a testimonial that's been given to us was by a Sweet Spot mobile app. Was during the process, they as in us in Relab, we actively listened to the requirements of the customer or the product, and then translated that to brilliantly and creatively into innovative user experience. So that highlights the skills, not just the service, but more so the skills. And in this one in particular is from Nova Entertainment. If for you who is familiar with the media scene, you would know Nova, the radio group. So Karina is just mentioning that our approach to relationship ensures you'll keep coming back time and time again, as they're such a pleasure to work with. So that highlights our customer service level, which we're very proud of, and we'd love to do even better in the future. So with the testimonials that I've picked, that specifically talks about mitigating issues or risks, which is a very important thing that often people overlook. And the other one was about the quality of the work, the skills, which means we're capable. And this last one is about customer service, which is another thing that's very, very important. Now, customer service can work really well as long as you have a good product, a good team, a good workflow that delivers. Okay? Oops, I've just gone too far. Let me just go back. Okay, so then we focus a lot of our energy on the case studies. I won't go through in detail just to save time, but what I'd like you to get out of this is just, other than understanding Relab and knowing Relab a little bit more, but getting an understanding on how we would present things. Obviously, I would go into more detail when I talk to a specific group of people, but then for this, we're just going to go through the projects quickly and general. Okay. So Seasons Partner Hotel Group, one of our customers, in late 2016, we won an award for this development of the website. And this process is a typical process that we go through when we work on a website project. And for our scale, it's kind of like a medium to large type of project for us. But the planning and the discovery sessions are very, very important. That's really where we analyze and review historical data from the existing platform, from the existing product, the performance. That's where we do user group studies as well. And then what this does is it gives us a very measurable plan and approach towards the project for the longer term. So those are some of the important things that we do initially before jumping into anything technical at all. So it's all about planning. One of the things that we do a lot, and we've been complemented a lot in this is our interactive wireframes. We use a product that's called a product called InVision that most of you would know, I think. But the way that we treat our wireframes is, in an interactive manner, and then that way it will give users the experience of being able to interact with the actual interface without having to build it first. So here we've mentioned that prototyping interaction study starts from day one, because that's really where we get the insight from an expectation point of view, whether it's customers or user groups or focus groups or anything like that. So that's a very important process for us. And then after that, we go through a series of concept development, which is focused in UI and its brand presentation and all of that stuff. And in our presentation, we like to drop where we like to drop numbers and facts to give the viewers an idea of performance, of measurable performance. Yep, so that's just part of the same project. I'm going to skip through because there's quite a bit of this, and I don't want to waste too much of your time. But essentially, they're all kind of like in a similar type of process. This is for SweetSpot, a mobile app, a mobile e-wallet app that's based on a beacon technology. It's very, very cool. Again, we've emphasized the notion of discovery process. In here, that's just an example of an information architecture map that we've done before going into the wireframing process. A few points of what's been integrated, beacon technology is part of it, and then speaking about the growth of the market, specifically in other regions as well, as they're growing really, really fast in Asia and North America, specifically to this project. So that gives me a point to talk about as I'm presenting. Just more visuals, making sure that the customers or the viewers understand the importance of wireframing for us, because that is a direct translation. That is going to be a direct translation into its visual design. Politics Menswear, for you who are in Australia, you would know this brand. It's a menswear brand, one of the most popular ones in Australia. So with this customer, we do a lot of work with them. But in this specific case study, it's really about the design of the e-commerce site, in which we work collaboratively with a development partner, Studio 60, based in Sydney. Our role primarily is in the UI and UX, and so taxonomy design, that's pretty much almost like a sitemap as well. But that's done by Studio 60, and then we work closely with that to build our structure for the website. As part of the development, or even before development or the design, usability testing was one of the things that we did for this across multiple platforms on a specific controlled group of users that we've documented and then presented to the customer, which becomes the foundation to how we design the structure or the architecture of the website. And in here, we've just highlighted the fact that as a design team, Relab is very, very solutions focused, and we're technically sound as well, because we have developers very strong from a front end point of view. But not just that, it gives our designers I guess a clear direction in where to go before having to I guess work on the aesthetics. We will know what can be built and what cannot be built. What that means is, in our process, it's very efficient, because we would have accounted anything from a technical point of view first before having to explore the creativity side of things. Okay. Um, Again, I'll skip through, guys, because otherwise this will take some time. Um, that slide in particular talks about the versatility of the team, how fast we can be in terms of delivery strategy. If there's a delivery strategy around that, then we can fit ourselves into it. We look into micro UX solutions, means little things, whether it's a button, an interaction, or whatever it is, but it has a purpose that's more macro, in a sense of an impact to its business. Without having to go into too much details, most of these screens are fairly fairly visual driven, because most of the talking would be done by myself while I'm presenting, and if the viewers will have questions, and I'll answer that. But the purpose of these slides are just to evoke interest around visuals mainly, and so that's why we've only put a few little text here and there to give myself, most importantly, a sense of a point of what to talk to, or what to talk about. Sorry. But other than that, most people would just be focused on the visuals itself. That's why it's so important. Another project with Studio 60, which is Radio Rentals. Again, very similar to the politics one, our focus is to drive the user experience and the user interface development. And exactly the same like the other projects, our process starts from a very thorough planning all the way to the structure, design, and the wireframing exercise and all of that. Being agile is one thing that we're proud of. Agile, not always in the sense of the methodology of development, but even in design as well. We try to be as agile and flexible. That way we save time. We can address issues very, very quickly, and we can focus a lot more on the delivery side of things. This project, though, is very complicated, I must say. It's probably the most complicated interface that we have to deal with, relating it to in relevance to the function that it needs to do. It's probably one of the most challenging ones, but I think we've done a good job. The team has done a good job, so I'm actually very proud of it. Radio Rentals, to give you an idea, is one of the largest rental companies in Australia. When I say rental, it's really technology rental, where you purchase and buy products with a rental agreement to own it at the end. But of course, you can buy outright as well. 124 Shoes is a premium shoe retailer, artisan shoe from Italy. And what we've built for them is an e-commerce site. Now, this is done internally at Relab, and the process would be similar, so I won't go through that in detail. But I guess the highlight in this project was our tailored visual approach with the front-end play around it. So that's probably why we were hired to do this. And I think the team has done a good job as well. And we do a bit of work with not-for-profit agencies or organizations as well. This one in particular is Immunization Coalition. Immunization Coalition has a really great network around medical, the importance of vaccination and all of that. And they're supported by larger organizations like Bupa Healthcare, in which one of our projects that we've done is exactly that in relation to, I think it was a flu test web application. that was sponsored by Bupa. Um, and so, yeah, so the same like with the other projects, requirement gathering sessions for accurate scoping that just emphasizes on the importance of planning. So really the idea that I'm trying to deliver here is that planning is so crucial that a project wouldn't deliver a great result if it wasn't planned properly. Um, Mainly for it to be sustainable as well. When I say sustainable, it's looking at a longer period of time for it to be relevant once again, rather than building something that's only built to survive for 1 year or even less than that. So we're looking at a longer term of a relationship. Um, so it's a medical application design. This one in particular was a pneumococcal disease vaccination tool application that allows medical practitioners to, excuse me, to go through a series of questions that's taken um, out of the pneumococcal disease vaccination tool handbook. And then that's what we've essentially developed into an easy to use application. All right. I apologize for the Slack notifications, by the way, but hopefully you don't mind. Anyway, yeah, so that's just more visuals around that particular project. Another example is the works that we've done with IDP Education, which was um, a Sitecore development. And this was done purely in-house as well, so nothing has been outsourced for this. One of the things that we're proud of with this project was it was on budget. Very, very important. As a team, we were very agile and partner-centric, which means we worked really, really closely with the customer in this one. Well, one of the things was, we only had, I think, from memory, 10 weeks deployment time. That's why we had to be extra efficient in this. Obviously, there are challenges during the process, which is very, very common. But then I guess the more important thing is how you mitigate that without having to explain the same type of process that we go through. Again, same thing, interactive wireframing, a methodical process to define its architecture, UX, and visual design. And the other thing that I may highlight in our process is real-time instant feedback during this type of process, where stakeholders or key decision makers can be involved in making comments, which our team will get. So that's just going through it in Envision, as how Envision would have that fantastic feature already set up. We've just made the use of it, really. So this project was efficient delivery schedule, which was that 10-week deployment thing, transparent management across the team and the customer, Sitecore as the CMS, the preferred CMS in this. Yeah, so the end result was like this. One of the things that we highlight is obviously the front end execution of it. And in all honesty, most of the projects that we deal with or that has been rewarded to us are front end focused stuff, just because we're a digital design company. And so normally when people look for a systems type of development or something that's more focused on the back end, where the visuals or the aesthetics is not a priority, then we're probably not the people to do that. Where people would come to Relab is really looking for something that's visually strong and driven, with the UI and UX and all of that, but supported with a strong backend as well, a strong backend development structure. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully with this preview, you get a feel of the things that we work on. I mean, some of these projects these are the recent ones. and there will be more. There's some other things that are not here that's been done recently, but anyway, that will give you an idea of the type of introduction document that we have. And mind you that this document changes every now and then, and it evolves just because I constantly review things, and so at some stage this document won't be relevant to what we're trying to say or present, and then we'll change it again. But in terms of the presentation of it or the visual presentation of it, this is at the stage where I'm presenting this to you. This is what we have as a latest style for us. Anyway, hopefully that brings you some good value. And if there are any questions whatsoever around this, feel free to drop us a comment, and I'll definitely get back to you. Okay? All right. Hope you enjoy the rest of the vlog. Cheers. Hey guys, hope you've had a good day so far. It's been a pretty productive day from an internal point of view for us in Relab. Most of the stuff that we've gone through today is going through internal processes and essentially trying to figure out how we can improve ourselves as a business, but also trying to plan for a longer term future. When I say longer term, it's probably 6-8 years, so we're trying to look ahead as far as we can. That way we can work backwards from there and stay relevant to the market, because these days it changes so fast, and from my experience running Relab for the last 4 years, it's changed a lot. So we're trying to project that, and then therefore as a company we'll be able to plan for the better future for Relab and its team and its people, and the customers that it services, most importantly. So with that vision of being the most customer-centric agency, particularly design agency here in not just Melbourne, hopefully Australia, we want to try and project ourselves there and work out ways to get there. So you'll see probably a little bit of footage around that today, but you won't hear any audio around it because it's very, very early stage, and I think there's nothing of value for you on the audio side of things, but you'll definitely see footage around that. The other thing is I've recorded a snippet of the showcases that we usually have, or the things that we showcase around the works that we've done to potential customers. Hopefully that's an interesting content for you as well, and hopefully it brings value on how we would try and present our work visually. So hopefully that turns out well. So I think that's pretty much it for today, but it was pretty productive, pretty positive. There's a lot of challenges, but we'll go through it, and we'll definitely update you with what we can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next vlog. You know what, I've just realized, I've been saying that this is going to be episode number 3. It's actually episode number 4, and the next episode is episode number 5. We got our times mixed up a little bit. Just to give you a bit of context, the way that we try and produce this vlog for you is we're actually 2 weeks behind. That way it gives us time to produce, because we're just so busy on a daily basis, but it gives us time to document and then compile and edit the video as well, and then upload it. So amongst all of our works at the moment, with the resources that we've got, the time that we've got, we have to be a little bit behind. So the episode that you'll be watching is kind of like 2 weeks behind from what the day is, if that makes sense. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you too much. But the next episode is episode number 5.
Yep.
5.
5.
Okay. All right. Thanks.